UFC Paris has just taken place. Renato Moicano has beaten Benoit Saint Denis via kind of a doctor stoppage in round two. Very frustrating. Very frustrating. This fight was very frustrating. First round, Moicano got clear 10-8. Saint Denis, they got kind of into a scramble on the feet. Moicano ended up on top for most of the round and just absolutely beat the fucking shit out of him. He was landing serious ground and pound. Saint Denis was compromised. Did so well to hold on, to be quite honest with you. That easily could have been stopped at moments. If you're in Moicano's world, if you're on that ground and Moicano's got that kind of body lock to keep you on top, or he couldn't be landing that ground and pound, then it's a long night. It's an absolute long night. Second round, Saint Denis actually won, I think, on the judges' scorecards. You could only see with one eye. You could definitely see that he was a little bit slower. I just felt like he was kind of planning more of his movements simply because he couldn't see. The eye was badly compromised. Badly compromised. I kind of did feel like I saw the cut was kind of on his eyelid. I think it was the right side of his eyelid. And the eye was completely shut. Like, it was bleeding into his eye. Like, the fight should have been stopped. It was a correct stoppage, but we have to give Moicano credit for this stoppage simply because he was the reason. This wasn't an eye poke or anything like that. Like, the reason that it was stopped is because he beat the fuck out of him so badly in the first round. So Moicano deserves all the credit in the world here. Second round, Moicano didn't really look like he was doing much. Kind of felt like he was just circling around. Saint Denis was stuffing all his takedowns, which really looked really bad for Moicano when you think about it, because he was on one eye and severely hurt and compromised. Moicano still couldn't take him down. The only reason he got the takedown in the first round was due to kind of like a scramble on the feet, kind of, if you know what I mean. Like, it was kind of like in an exchange and then kind of hip thrust in and Moicano got him down. But you got to give him credit as well, man. You got to give him credit. Saint Denis, it is a loss, but it's not like a career-ending loss because it was a doctor stoppage. But I just kind of feel like it's gonna be overshadowed. The fact Moicano was just putting an absolute beating down on him. That's why this fight was stopped, and I think that needs to be the talking point, not the fact that it was a doctor stoppage. Now, you can argue that Saint Denis won the second round, but it was so severely compromised. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't gonna fucking change. Moicano had a very interesting post-fight speech. He went at the French government, I'm pretty sure that's who it was, and he called out Paddy Pimblett, which we all kind of saw coming, and Dan Hooker. Two very winnable fights, but also just two drastically different fights. Dan Hooker is ranked number 5 in the rankings. If he beats him, he could easily get a title shot. And Pimblett is ranked 15th in the rankings. He's barely ranked. He's ranked about a month. One's clearly money, and one's clearly going to get you higher up the rankings, close to a belt, if not for the belt. I like both of those fights. As much as I'm saying I don't, I do like both of them. I think he has a very good chance against both of them. He said Paddy Pimblett is a harder fight than Dan Hooker in ways. And I can kind of see what he's saying, simply because I think Moicano, if he gets Pimblett down, that's Pimblett's world. But Dan Hooker's known for fucking not being able to grapple. Like, that's Dan Hooker's weakness, is his grappling. And that's Moicano's strength. So, Pimblett could even be a harder fight than Dan Hooker in ways for Moicano. Because if he takes Pimblett down, look what happened to Bobby Green. You know what I mean? He got wrapped up straight away. Moicano was a way better grappler than Bobby Green. Way more dangerous on the ground. Way better than Bobby Green. Everywhere. Dan Hooker's better on the feet than Moicano. I think that second round against BSD showed that Moicano wasn't really doing much on the feet. Maybe he was just waiting for the fight to be stopped. Because his striking's so limited. Like, you know what I mean? Moicano's never had great striking, and the fact he's kind of older now isn't going to do him any favours. But it's a winnable fight for Moicano. Both of those fights. I would be picking him in both of those fights. I'd be very confident with him against Dan Hooker. To be quite honest with you, I'd be very confident. This one is a bit of a setback for Benoit Saint Denis, but as much as it is a loss, it's not a career-ending loss. Like, if he'd gone out there and got knocked out or submitted, and let's say that first round happened, and Saint Denis, and then in the start of the second round, Moicano went in there, took him down, then submitted him, or ground and pounded even more, that's a career-ending loss. I think there's going to be kind of like a fan thing of, BSD's coming off a doctor stoppage loss to Moicano. Do you know what I mean? Instead of it just being a normal loss. That's going to play a factor in this, because the name value, I feel like, is still intact simply because this was a doctor stoppage. if that kind of makes sense. Like, people aren't going to really talk about much about, oh, well, he lost to Moicano because Moicano beat the fuck out of him and they had to stop it. No, it's going to be like, he's coming off a doctor stoppage loss. He can get things back on track. But if he got out there and got submitted in the second round, or got TKO'd in the second round, people would have been like, oh, he got fucked by Moicano, sending him back to the own ranks against, let him rematch Matt Favola, two bums coming off losses. That's what people would say, in my opinion. That's what people would say. But yeah, it's kind of hard to see where BSD goes from here. You could even do him versus Pimblett. No one's talking about that, but not, you know, we'll do Moicano. We'll do Moicano with Pimblett. That's a way bigger fight as well. Bobby Green versus Benoit Saint Denis. That's a fight that could happen. He needs to take a lot of time off. I don't want to see him in the octagon this year for sure. Anyway, it could be summer before we see Benoit Saint Denis again. To be honest with you, Brendan Allen fumbled the bag very badly. You know, he fucking gassed out badly. Imavov did okay, I suppose. He didn't look great in the first round at all. He got beaten the fuck out of, and you know, the French card was alright. It was alright. It was good at two scraps. Brian Battle, like I said, a very good fucking 1-2. Got that one right. Matt Favola just got his career ended and stuff like that. So there was moments in this card. You know, I give it a solid 6. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't the best card I've ever seen. There were some boring fights on it though, but you know, Charrier did well as well. So there were some decent fights. I enjoyed the card. But yeah, Moicano steals the show once again. My fucking man. We're going to see him versus Pimblett next. We could see that in the UK next year around March. But just kind of the early thoughts on this card. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Thanks for watching.